Hi, quick reminder. The opinions and views expressed by my guests in this episode don't necessarily reflect mine or those of the show. Not every episode, but some episodes this season we talk about very deep, serious subjects. So if at any point you need to take a pause from listening or watching, please do so. Your mental well-being is far more important to me than any listener metrics, and the show will always be here when you're ready to come back. All right? Let's go. Hi, I'm Adam Jennings, and this is Awaiting Approval, a podcast about the messy human side of creative leadership. Today I'm joined by Michael Glass, a highly experienced design leader, for a relaxed two-way conversation about his journey, the lessons he's learned, and what it takes to lead with creativity and honesty. Michael, hi, welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. And especially good at the moment here in London. We're starting to have sun again for the first time this year.
Oh, well, that's the opposite of us. We literally had 3 feet of snow in the last few days, so we're snowed in.
Right. I saw a brilliant video recently of a guy taking a walk around a park in Manhattan, looking at all the different snowmen that people had built. And there was like your traditional like carrot and coal for the buttons and things, but then there was like some true art forms, like wrapped squirrels running around trees.
I don't think you understand how much snow. Like New York is definitely not made for the amount of this is. I don't think there's ever been this much snow in one storm before.
Wow,
it's like record setting, and we had the same thing like a few weeks ago. So this was like this is like a once in a generation kind of storm in New York. So it's like there's a lot of snow. There's like walls.
Right. So far, every time I've been to New York, it's been really nice and sunny. So
yeah, it usually is.
Right. I've yet to experience that New York coldness, but I will at some point, I'm sure. For those like listening or watching, to get to know you a little bit better, if we were meeting in person today to record this, where would you suggest we meet, and what would you order to drink?
So I had listened to a couple of episodes, and I knew you were going to ask this question. I've known for a couple of days, and I still can't decide on what to tell you. That should tell you how indecisive I am in general. But it would really depend. I mean, look, it depends on would it be preferable for this podcast, or would it be preferable just for a conversation between the two of us? Because I'd love to be in a dive bar somewhere drinking, a whiskey. But I mean, then everyone else is like, we'll meet in a really quiet cafe and talk, and have a coffee. And it's like, yeah, I could do that too. That's not a problem. I love coffee. I would preferably be in a dive bar somewhere underground.
Brilliant. I mean, one of the things I love about asking that question is the like range of answers I get. And in my head, I have like had coffees in nice quiet bars. I've walked along canals. I've stood and watched sunsets. And so now I can tick off New York underground dive bar. Did you say a whiskey? Would that be your?
Yeah, whiskey. Scotch is my drink of choice. I mean, like anything I do, when I get into it seriously, I study the thing. So, I have at least 10 or so whiskeys going at any moment, just to like have a range, and then I'll get different ones as they kind of end, because they don't go off. So it's like, just what do I feel like today?
Yeah, I love it. And I can think of far worse things to do a deep dive in the research into. I'll raise you a metaphorical mug of scotch to cheer you on for the show. And by the same token, is there something that you have around you on your desk that gives us a glimpse into who you are or how you work?
Something that I can pick up? No. I'll give you, but I will give you a description. Right now, I have my work computer, my laptop, which is a MacBook. I have my server, which I built about a year ago, and I've been tinkering with over there. I've got a gaming PC over there, another AI PC over there that's solely for AI. I've got a little mini PC over there that just serves my smart home. That's all it does. And then I've got another mini PC in there that I still haven't decided what I'm doing with it. So I have computers like literally everywhere, and it's kind of like become a hobby that, so not only just the computers, I've got like all computer parts, like in a whole different thing. As I said, as well as like power tools and woodworking stuff and stuff like that. So this is my little office and work environment that I just kind of leave to myself. So yeah, it's nothing that I can pick up and show you, but it's all around me.
I love that. And like is that important, that kind of ability to just go off and tinker?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah,
that a calming thing for you, or
absolutely. I'm one of the, well, I mean, I have no problem sort of saying I have ADHD. And so anything that I can focus on and just kind of be in it for a long time, even though I'm thinking about that thing very intently, like, uh, very like intensely as well. Um, it actually calms me. So it's, it's because it's only one thing and everything else doesn't matter.
yeah,
So yeah, it's something that I love doing. I've gotten into woodworking. I've gotten into tinkering with computers. I'm trying to figure out what to do with AI, obviously, like everyone. Um, and it's, I get into long sprints of like, this is amazing. And then long sprints of like, I just don't touch it, like it's just annoying me. Um, so yeah, no, it's good. I love tinkering just in general. I think it's like, it's the, it's the best thing. I'm a designer at heart, and I've always said if I didn't do it for a job, I'd probably end up doing it for fun, just because, like it's something I enjoy doing. It is a pure tinker, in my mind, it's a pure tinkering kind of hobby. Moving one pixel there, one pixel there. It's like, yeah, how far can we go? Um,
I love that. As a fellow ADHD, and like that completely 100% resonates. There is
yeah,
always a good sort of 10 to 15 tabs open in my brain.
yeah.
And when you find that hyper focus, they're still there,
Ah,
but they sort of like drop back somehow.
yeah. And it, the focus on one thing just, it feels like the noise kind of stops a little bit, like it's kind of, because, my biggest issue is always being, my brain's going so fast and in so many different directions that I've got to like really pay attention to figure out when I'm doing something that I shouldn't be doing, in the sense that, like, I'll give you an example. When I'm having conversations with people, especially about work, my head is going so much further into the conversation than we're at. So, and I've answered their questions. I've answered the questions that I know I'm going to ask them. I've answered it for them, even though I'm more than likely 100% wrong in every answer. Like, that's not what they were going to say. My head has gone past, like, and I'm kind of sitting there going, why aren't you keeping up? Like,
Yeah.
so, I've got to like, keep a track in that, which means it's just like a constant kind of like reorganizing your brain in real time. But when you can focus on one thing, you don't have to worry about it. And it's, you can just kind of put all your energy into one thing and just get stuff done, which is so much fun. It's when you do that, it's like, things happen. It's funny. As much as as much as people kind of like backtrack a little bit when you tell them that you've got ADHD, like, to be honest with you, most of the time it's a superpower. Like, most of the time when you get to do that hyper focus, you work better than anybody else on the planet, which that's what people don't understand. And you have to deal with all the like shortcomings in a lot of different other areas. But when you do find that, like, that little avenue of what you have superpowers in, so good.
Yeah, for sure. Last season, I did a roundtable of recruiters, and very likely between recording this and that one, I've maybe done a sort of secondary follow up to that. But
Yeah,
in that, we talked about neurodiversity, and I said, for me, the way that ADHD manifests itself mostly is I can do about 8 weeks worth of work in half an hour, and then I'll do
yeah,
nothing for 3 days. And it's not
yeah.
because I'm lazy or tired. It's just I can't. I
That's what you.
can't
Yeah,
start. That's what you
yeah.
get.
People really don't understand that can't as well. Like, they really don't understand the like. No, I know what I'm supposed to do. I want to do it. It's just not feasibly possible for me to do it. Like, it's so hard to explain to anybody.
Yeah. No, 100%.
Yeah,
It's like I want to have a drink from that mug, but I can't lift it up. I know
yeah,
I can. I know I'm physically capable of lifting it up. I know I want to do it. I know what the
By the time my
movements of my
brain
arm
gets to
are.
it, by the time my brain gets to it, it's also moved on to the next thing, like it's
Yes.
like trying to explain to someone, like that I got up to get a coffee and I came back with a garbage bag, and they're going, what happened between here and the kitchen that when it's like, well, I went to get a coffee. Then I started thinking about the garbage that's in my room, or I started thinking about how to organize my room. And so that started getting me thinking about garbage. Then that started thinking like, I'll give you a perfect example. As I was waiting to record this thing, I actually did this. I went up for a coffee. I brought the garbage bag with me. This is why this is straight in my head. I brought the garbage bag with me because I thought now, in the 45 minutes before I was going to record this with you, I thought now was the right time to start demolishing the bathroom on this level. So because I'm gonna renovate it myself. So I started ripping off stuff off the wall, and I'm this is how my brain works. I know I've got something else to do, but by the time I even think about going to do it, I'm somewhere else. And everyone sort of has that. Everyone has that kind of I got up to do something and I forgot to do it. It's but imagine that is 100% of your life. Imagine that is, no matter what, everything you do. So yeah, it's tough, but also then people go, I can't believe you just did that. And it's yeah, neither can I, because I wasn't planning on doing it at all.
Yeah. I went out to buy the groceries, and I've actually randomly built a tank from pieces of scrap that I found along the way. It's funny.
It's strange. It's strange. It's hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's also, and I do like to find the humor in it, because it is hard as well. It can be really defeating to think, fuck, this is the third time I've gone downstairs for a coffee and I still haven't got a coffee. Because you sit back down and you go why did oh shit, coffee. And then you go back downstairs.
And that's the simple stuff because really the hardest part is, because when you're doing it to yourself, you can handle it. It's not a big deal. Okay, you didn't get a coffee. It's not the end of the world, right? I'll do it, it'll happen at some point. But when you're disappointing other people, that's where it really kind of you suffer with it. But again, it's finding the humor in it. My wife asked me to do something, and just I literally get up to do it that second. And then I come back with a coffee, it's kind of, and she goes, did you do the thing? It's oh yeah, I got up to do that, didn't I? Okay, let me try again. And it's, and that's even a simple one. Obviously it manifests at work a lot, people ask me to do something and getting a task done. You've got to learn how to, train yourself and kind of, and again, I'm obviously very experienced, but I've still have a lot of trouble with it all the time.
How do you, for me, I have tried every single way of tracking tasks, from Trello to, Monday.com to whatever. And I always come back to pen and paper.
I don't think I have tried every single type of note-taking technique with typing it out, and it is literally impossible for me to follow it. There's a few things that come into it. I was trying to explain, obviously my last role, I was overseeing a lot of different projects. And when people always kind of said, I sent you an email. It's look, you sent me a message on that thing, or you sent me a message on that thing. Understand that I can't get out of Slack without missing stuff. I have got every single project that is running in this company in my side panel, right? And, to say I sent you an email, it sounds completely reasonable that I should be able to follow Slack and email, but I just can't. So then asking me to kind of go into the, people knew not to put me on the project management stuff like Asana or Monday, whatever it was, because it's just I'm just not going to ever go in there. It's that's a whole nother area that I just don't have time for. And then especially when you bring tasks into it, it's the only way I know how to complete tasks. It's so funny. The the physical act of writing a list out and crossing them off is the only way that I remember to do these things and have a reminder there that's physically at my desk. With a computer, it's too easy to just kind of ignore it, especially because I have so much screen real estate. And also crossing them off, you get a sense of accomplishment that is like that I need to go to the next one, right? Like that's kind of I can't do it. It has to be that.
Yeah. Oh, I'm 100% with you.
Yeah.
And like, there is nothing in a digital sense when you've completed a task that you really bloody hated. There is nothing
Yeah.
in a digital sense that matches properly scratching that thing off the list, like
Yeah.
with real pressure that breaks the nib of the pen. Like
Yeah.
that's, that kind of thing. There's nothing like that
Yeah.
from a digital sense.
It's no, there isn't at all. I don't think there is like it's funny because you know what the funniest thing is? The closest, so I've been doing like research on just like when I mentioned to you earlier, like we bought a house. And so like when I'm kind of like making lists of things that I need to buy to like do one thing, you know, you got to buy these nails, you got to buy, you know, whatever it is. You know, I am putting it on like a text edit or something like that, just a text, like a simple text thing. And the only way I know how to cross them off is to literally put a super strike through them, you know, like, and that's the only thing that comes close is to literally put a cross through it digitally, but still, no, it doesn't have the same, so it doesn't have the same feeling as actually crossing something off a list. Yeah.
Yeah. There was a trend recently on, I don't know, TikTok, Instagram, something like that, of people with ADHD sharing screenshots of their iNotes. And it was hilarious. And it made me look at mine, and you have some that are just like 23.7, and that's it. Like that's all it is. And I've got no idea.
Yeah.
Like, is that inches, feet, times per day? Like what the hell is that? I have no idea.
You do not want to, yeah. I mean, look, if just going through a notebook of mine, like you would not know what the hell's going. Yeah. Our shorthand is weird, like just completely weird as fuck. I don't know of anyone with ADHD that doesn't have a completely different shorthand to everybody else on the planet. Like my dad is undiagnosed, but I can tell you he's got it. It's like the way that he creates his own systems. Like when I have tried to like get him to take a step back and look at it, he's just gone, oh my God, no one can follow this. It makes so much sense to me. It makes so like, he just sits there going, I understand it more than you could possibly imagine. I don't even have to look at it. I don't even have to write in it, and it works for me. But I just look at it, trying to figure out how you would follow it. And no, there's no way. I would have to explain every single letter to you. It's not like, so yeah, no, it's very weird. And my wife also struggles with it because she sees me leave stuff around the house thinking that I don't have a reason for leaving it there. And everything has a reason. Everything I do has a reason. You would never in a million years know what that reason could or would be. Like, but if you actually pick my brain, it's like, no, I left that there because there's a possibility I might do something else that may require it. And I'm going to sort of look at that tomorrow. So I left that there specifically for that thing. And it's like, unless you have some kind of like running transcript of my brain that you can, use AI to search, because it would be impossible to search. Like that's a great use for AI. I swear to God, just AI to organize my brain for other people would be,
brilliant.
Translation, subtitles underneath my speech.
Just like a LED thing running across your forehead.
Yeah. What he means is, but like even just the understanding that my wife has I've given her areas that she can't touch anything. So she can get upset with me if I put stuff in areas anywhere else other than that. But like if it's my desk or if it's my nightstand or if it's like the small like side table that's near where I sit, like in front of it, if I put anything there, just don't touch it, because otherwise it'll screw everything up.
And it does, right? Like it shouldn't, but it really does mess the day up, doesn't it? It's not. Yeah. For me, it wasn't like cross at the person that's moved it. It's cross that it's moved.
Yes.
and that somehow like throws my whole day out for
Nothing's ever,
some
well,
weird
nothing's
reason.
ever personal. Nothing
No,
is ever personal. We don't get up. It's the funny thing is the attention. It's, it's actually really funny because I don't think I very acutely understand and know my disability. And I don't even say disability. I'm not like the issues that like my ADHD, I am acutely aware of it. Right. Like, so I never take anything anyone does normally as anything personal against me. Like, yeah, she moved it. She wanted to tidy up. Like, I'm not going to get upset with that. But yeah, just the fact that it's moved, it's like I had everything figured out. And now that one thing being moved, I don't know where anything is.
right, right. It's like the ADHD equivalent of the butterfly flapping its wings this side of the
Yeah.
world causes an earthquake the other
Yeah.
side.
Yeah. Yeah. At
um,
any given day, you do not want to see my office. It's like, it's an absolute. Today, it's actually okay because I spent a few days tidying it up. But yeah,
I love
not
it.
in that corner. Don't worry about that corner.
Okay, yeah, it's
Yeah.
fine. We'll skip over that corner. No problem.
Yeah, exactly.
You mentioned, you touched on the last place that you worked there, which would probably be a good opportunity for you to just take us through key milestones of your journey when you got into design to where you are now.
Sure. I mean, key milestones have always been a little bit outside the norm, I think, from other people. I approached this career from a very different point of view. I started out out of high school deep into hospitality. So I started out wanting to be a chef. Um, I very quickly learned how much I would hate to be a chef. Um, like it's not you really have to, like, cooking and creating food needs to be so much of a passion that you're willing to give up like 10 years of your life to absolute madness before you can even get to that. So, like madness and uncomfortability. I'm 6'5" and a big guy, so I'm not gonna fit in most kitchens. So like that's also another thing. But started out there, ended up getting into hospitality and management, was managing a few bars, and then basically just sort of figured out like, there was only so far that I could go in this without kind of going into ownership, right? Like you get to, with hospitality, you get to a certain point and then the next thing is like, okay, well, it's not time to own a small bar or a small restaurant, or, and make your way kind of up to that, but never really wanted to do that. So went back, started university. And while I hated university, I was just on a computer teaching myself how to design stuff. Um, so I did the bare minimum at school, and then literally every day was just on Photoshop at the time. And I made it a rule every day. Anytime I opened Photoshop, I had to learn something new, no matter what.
Right.
Um, and which is good. It was just a good rule. It could be something really simple. If I opened the program at all, I could not leave unless I learned something new. Um, and like, this is early. This is like in the, I suppose it's like late 90s, early 2000s. So the web is not that good, not many tutorials around, like not many things to do. I ended up doing like a lot of kind of, small mom and pop, like, I ended up my hairdresser that I had for a couple of years. I did his website, and that's how I learned how to make a website. I did his business cards and all that sort of stuff. Eventually got a job and kind of realized how much further ahead I was than any other junior I knew, because I'd just been like learning so much on my own that it was kind of, yeah, it was kind of strange. And then basically that was I got a first job, realized I was much better than I thought I was, went straight into a senior role, and automatically just, um, well, I really had a great my first proper creative director was just perfect for me, because he was one of two things. And I didn't realize how English this was. Well, he's Welsh, but I didn't realize how British this was, because I've realized it. Okay. He had two responses to anything. It's either fucking brilliant And brilliant is a word that I realize that every British person uses on a regular basis. But it's either fucking brilliant, which meant that it's in the top 5% of anything he could possibly imagine, or it's fucking shit. And I knew it didn't matter how much I liked something. I knew if he said if it was fucking shit, it needed work. It could be at the 94th percentile, you know, like it could be that high. But if he didn't say fucking brilliant, like, there was just no coming back from it. And I had that, and he always allowed me to do things that I thought was a right avenue. If I didn't like something that we were doing, if I wanted to just kind of tear it all up and start again, he let me. I always had the understanding that time was my responsibility. So if it was close to a deadline, it was at an ad agency. So if it was close to a deadline, I kind of always said, like you said, you know, like, yeah, it's my responsibility. I'll stay overnight. I'll figure out how I need to do it. But my prerogative, my thought process right now is just to tear the whole thing up and start again. And so I did that a lot, but, you know, I always made sure I still delivered. And then very quickly I became the guy, you know, this is deep into Flash websites. You know, I became the guy that if you wanted to do something that was really, for lack of a better word, fancy, something that, you know, is high craft, you want to have a site on FWA, you want to be recognized by those things, like, I'm the guy you come to. Like, I will take something that shouldn't even be like a microsite, shouldn't even be like a Flash thing, and I'll turn it into something beautiful that's just like works. But so I was there for like a year. I had like a couple of FWA sites, got like a bunch of awards. And then after that, I was freelancing a bit, and every place that I went to, I got another FWA. I was like, everyone knew me as like, if you hire him, you'll get one, right? Like, it's no question. It's just, he will make one of those sites into something like that. So that was always a milestone for me. I really loved just going and being that gun. You know, I progressed from there, and I started going into a more managerial kind of, either the senior designer in a group of designers, or, you know, either a creative director or art director or senior art director, whatever you want to call it. You know, like I kind of made my way up the advertising ad agency sort of areas. And after that, it was kind of like milestones were myself based. You know, if I impressed myself, it was more than most people could do. Like, I remember having, so this is also in Australia, remember. So it's not, we're in a smaller market. We're far away from the rest of the world. And sometimes people have that mentality, where if it's good enough for Australia, it's good enough for us, you know, like it's good enough for what we're doing. And I did not have that mentality at all. Because the people that were on the web and were, you know, on looking at digital stuff and really kind of focusing on that stuff, they saw the world. You know, people that were in ad agencies to do TV spots or to do print ads and stuff like that, like, they didn't see the world. They saw what was in front of them. They saw what was on Australian TV. They took a while to get to the point of those kinds of things. And, you know, like, we saw everything. We saw what was happening everywhere. And that was my tentpole, you know, and I always wanted to be better than anything. So I remember I made a site for somebody and I thought it was terrible. It got on an FWA, so don't worry. But I thought it could be so much better. There's just so much stuff that the things that I wanted to do I wanted to do so much. There was so much potential there. Just to give you a slight thing, it was basically you used your keyboard to create music that you sing. So you sing to a whale and the whale sings back to you. Right. So it was this 3D whale that was like, yeah. So,
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a good site, but there was so much I wanted to do. And I remember the exec ECD of the entire agency. And this is M&C Saatchi. So this is like a big agency. It's ECD of all of Australia, M&C Saatchi, was like, came up to me and was like, man, that site was amazing. And I was like, I actually wanted to come up to you and apologize for that site. It was not what I had said it was going to be. Like I had so many lofty goals. There were things that we didn't even get to. And he was like, no, my God, it's the best site I've ever seen. And I was like, okay, this is when I knew I had to leave. This is when I knew I either had to do my own thing or I had to leave. And again, like milestones were most of the time in Australia, they were me based. So yeah, I don't know if that answers the question. I kind of went on a few like rants, but, yeah, I always wanted more. So milestones were, always me based, I guess.
Yeah. So then what was the story from coming from Australia over to the US? Like what was the driver for that, and where did you come to initially, and how did you get to
Yeah.
fantasy and so on?
Yeah, okay. So, uh, after a bunch of ad agencies in Australia, I actually started my own. And I had a partner, a couple of partners, and we started this agency. They eventually, I left a few years after. I had a lot of disagreements with one of the partners, and we just didn't see eye to eye. But like I was killing myself for a couple of years, like absolutely killing myself. On top of the fact that like I had, again, so many lofty goals. It was very difficult to do them as an owner because you spend the majority of your time not doing the thing that you're good at, which taught me a lot, like about owning a company. Um, you're this creative leader and you end up doing more finance work than you've ever thought you would ever look at, right? Like, so it's definitely an acquired taste, running your own company, but I basically went through this couple of year process where I was so burnt out, and I left and I took 2 months off and I literally did nothing. Like nothing. Like I stayed in bed. I was a broken person. Um, and after that, I kind of started coming around, like started coming back around. I even took a couple of freelance gigs, and the recruiter from the States called me and said, "Hey, do you have any?" I just was looking at your portfolio, and do you have any interest um, in maybe coming either to London or New York? And I was like, "Yeah, I'm not actually working at the moment, so yeah, like, sure, let's do it." And literally within the next week, I was in the States. He got me a phone interview with Stink Digital, um, who are an awesome production house. I don't know if they were, it was an agency. They were actually more of a film company. Did a lot of ads, like, did a lot of kind of video production, really good in London. And then when they started in New York, they started like the digital arm where they were doing the same thing, kind of microsites, like flash stuff, all that sort of stuff. And I had a meeting with them 2 days after that recruiter contacted me. Uh, I talked to them. We figured out, there was this service that kind of they hired you as their own employee. And then when you got to the States, they leased you out as a consultant. That's kind of how it worked, as like, so you were hired, they basically got your visa for you. And then you just kind of do freelance work for everyone else. Literally within a week, I was in the States. I had heard all these different stories about how difficult it was, how hard it is to get a visa, how hard it is to get a job, how hard it is. It was like it was like a week before I was on a plane with a visa in hand going, like, it was that easy. I worked at Stink for a while. I ended up going, I worked at, because I had this like weird scenario where I could work freelance while still having a visa. I worked at Razorfish. I worked at, Poke, which ended up changing their name. Poke actually sold their agency in London to Publicis. And then the New York office decided to split. They called themselves Makeable. I was there. I went to AKQA. Then I came back as a full-time employee to Makeable, where, I was leading up all the design with another guy. And then, yeah, left there and same kind of scenario. Got in contact with Fadosh, who is the CEO over at Fantasy, and then it was 10 years ago. So, um, and like I made my way up there. Started off as a design director, kind of moved into the group design director role, and eventually just kind of oversaw the entire design discipline globally. Kind of just by nature of being the most senior person there and knowing what I was doing, I guess. Like not and again, like I don't know what I'm doing half the time, but it ends up being okay. It's I my look, I mean, I have a different outlook on what I value as a design leader. I'm not about um getting my name out there. I'm not about, you know, getting awards or anything like that. My joy comes from the work, doing stuff that I'm proud of, but also making sure my team is better every day, right? Like that is, I don't care what role I'm in. I don't care. Like, so the journey for me has been very, if you see my kind of resume, it's like up and down, right? Like I sometimes take roles that you would never think that would be my next step, but yeah, it's definitely something that I usually go into the scenario. And if that scenario ends up not being what I kind of like, I leave, like I'm very aware that I'll probably end up burning more bridges than I should if I don't leave. So, um,
Right.
yeah,
I mean, that's great to be aware of that beforehand.
yeah,
Like so many of us do it
yeah.
the other way around.
It's great. Well, you have to act on it. That's the problem. Sometimes it's like, yeah, this is probably going to end bad, but I'm going to leave it anyway.
Right.
No, look, I mean, a lot of times when I leave somewhere, um, a perfect example is Makeable. Like when they were Poke, and then they changed to Makeable, and kind of they were looking for their identity. I think money was also not the easiest thing that, because they kind of lost the support of a larger agency. So I had left which is when I went to AKQA. And the funniest thing is they actually called me like 8, 9 months later, and we went out to coffee. We went out for lunch or something. And they basically just said, like, since you left, there's been something missing. Like there hasn't been someone to argue with me, right? Like there hasn't been someone to tell me that's a stupid idea. There hasn't been and it's funny because like you'd think that is something that people don't want, but like the work ends up suffering, and you can end up being okay with not mediocre work. You can even be doing good work, but if it's not as good as it can be, and you had a guy that's going to question and it's going to push and it's going to try to make people better, and then you lose that, you end up, so the funny thing is, even when I do burn bridges or and that wasn't burning bridges, but like even when I do kind of leave in that kind of way, where it's, it's just not working, a lot of the time people end up coming back and saying, you know what, I didn't realize what you added. Look, a lot of the time they don't. I'll be honest. Like a lot of the time, like they just go, God, everything was so much smoother when you left. But, I can guarantee you the work suffers.
Yeah.
That's no doubt about that.
I mean, if you think it makes perfect sense, and any conversation we have as creatives has an amount of tension, right? Like
Has
just
to. Yeah.
by dint of what we're trying to achieve. And when you then think of the output of work, you've got crap, solid, good, great, and then the 1%. And it's
Yeah.
really, really hard to get to the 1%. And the only way you do that is by pushing everything.
Yeah. I had a designer, and this is a while ago. It's probably like 6 or 7 years ago, or something like that. And we were doing a project, and at first the project didn't seem that difficult, or didn't seem that it seemed like it should have just been like a smooth ride. Like if someone had kind of told you what the project was, you just go, okay, yeah, we can knock that out and we can do it great. And it wouldn't even be a hassle. And it ended up being a hassle. But not because of anything bad. I wanted it to be better, right? I was pushing the guy. And he at one point said, this was not supposed to be this like put all our eggs in one basket kind of, website. This was not supposed to be this kind of project. It just once I would like to do a project where you're not under the gun from timing. The scope that you promise is less than the time you have. There's no part of it where you're just stressed and you're feeling like you're always under the gun. I said, I honestly, like I'm not going to name him, but like honestly, dude, that is never going to be. You are never going to have a project under me that is not like that. Like it's just not possible, because if you are not uncomfortable, it means you are not doing anything new. Like that is just if you're comfortable in anything that you're doing, if you do something and there was no part of it that you were stressed, or no part of it that you thought, I can't do this, or I've never done it, it means that you've done it before. It's that simple. Like there's no question you've done it before. Like, and that just means that you're not doing something new. And I just always want to do something new.
Yeah, that resonates completely, not just from a design perspective. Like before my design career, I worked in theater, and any performance that I went into where I didn't feel nerves beforehand was always flat,
Yeah,
because you'd got into a rut. That's probably not the best way of describing it, but when there isn't that adrenaline, when you're not working on that gut feeling of it's good, but it's not quite there. I need to push it more. We can get better than this. We can do better than this.
absolutely.
You're only going to produce mediocre.
Yeah, no, I agree. My philosophy has always been, and I tell people this, like, the goal should be better than you were yesterday. Now, that does not mean that you have to reinvent the world every day. It just means if you did something yesterday, try to do it a little bit better today, right? Like, if you thought you were perfect yesterday, great, you weren't. Let's try to get it a little. No one ever is. Everything can always be better. If you take that philosophy and you run with it, and you don't try to tackle those things in this grandiose kind of way, but you do look at it as I can do a little bit better than I did yesterday, you're going to end up in a place where, A, you're better than anybody else. That's what goes without saying. And B, you're going to be much more fulfilled, because again, you're doing things that are challenging every day. You don't want to kill yourself, but you do want to put yourself in a scenario where you're learning, you're getting better, that is, I think that is, I mean, again, I am only speaking for myself, but to me, that feels like where people are fulfilled, right? Like it feels like you could do any job, doesn't matter what you do, but if there's something that is like making you progress in some part of your life every day, it has a sense of accomplishment. And I feel like, you can get away with a lot. Look, like I said, I worked in ad agencies. A lot of the time in the early digital days, ad agencies meant banners, banner after banner after banner after banner. You were lucky if you got to do 2 sites a year, right? Like that was kind of like the thing. I don't know how many banners I did, and they were really easy and they were really stupid, right? Like, let's be honest. But within those banners, there was always an opportunity to do something better. Even if it was, you know what, I saw a button style that I'd never done and I wanted to learn how to do it. It's
Right.
stupid. It's only for me, right? Like no one is going to notice that I did a new type of button style, or no one is going to notice that I did a cool animation, like, hover state on it or something like that. But I'm going to know, and I learned something today, right? Like, and all of a sudden I didn't care about doing banners. It didn't bother me that I was doing banners, because yeah, it's not something that I'm going to show people, but it is something that I get to learn something with. I try a new layout style. This is like early when I'm a junior, like these things helped a lot, because then when I got to the stuff where it was something a little bit more as a website, it was like something where, you're going to be able to pull it in your portfolio. I've learned so much
Mm.
that a lot of the things that I was doing that I didn't know were new things, and now bigger and better. And I see a lot of young designers really struggle on a, a lot of basics, because they're not learning how to do those basic stuff, those basic things every day. They're only doing the thing that they've been asked to do. They're only doing so again, like, someone says, make a banner, and you make a banner and you don't question anything else, and you don't do it, not for yourself or anybody. If you just kind of just go, I know how to do a text banner. I'm just going to do a text banner, and that's going to be my task for the day. And then I'm done. Like, tomorrow, you're not going to know any more than that. Right. Like
Right.
that's where the trick goes. But if you kind of go, you know what? And this is very basic, but like, I'm just giving you an example, but like, you know what? I've been left aligning everything for the last, 6 months. What if I center align something, right? Like, it's something that's stupid, but it is like, if those, just having the practice, like, how many people do you know that don't know when to left align something versus when to center something? Like, it's stupid, but it is like, it's a thing. And the only way you learn that stuff is through playing with it.
Yeah.
Tinkering,
It's
going back to tinkering, right? Like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's reps, right? Like, and the other part of it is when you're doing banners, when you're doing that kind of work day in, day out, you have to find the thing that
The
energizes you in
joy.
it. You have to
Yeah.
find the interest in it, because otherwise you will just produce tosh because you're not invested. So the
I
idea of
agree.
like, this is an opportunity for me to look back at the day and be proud of something that I did. It reminds me that when I set up my very first company, it was just me in my spare bedroom making banner adverts for toothpaste that would only ever be seen by people who lived in Maine. And like, but it was money coming in, and I was learning, like you say. I didn't know the platform at that point. I didn't know the platform
Yeah.
they were being served through. So I started to learn double click and how to prop the ads once I'd made the creative and all the
Yeah.
tech specs and all of that kind of stuff. So I love that. I think that's a really fantastic piece of advice for anyone at any level.
Yeah.
Figure out what you can do to learn and upskill.
I got really lucky. I got to admit, I got really lucky with my first few creative directors, because they taught me things that they had nothing to do with like skill-based things. They taught me how to work to get better. I told you about one of them, which was like, and really that directness was really good for me. And also the kind of person that would just let me do what I thought in my head and not micromanage me and kind of let me kind of see if my head was right at all. But before that, my absolute first creative director in my first job, he taught me how much better I could be every day. Like, I remember doing this, it was a banner for Listerine. And again, it was one of those things that should have been simple. It should have been like just a straightforward banner. I got the concept off an art director and oh, there goes my doorbell. But, I got the concept off an art director and I did it basically. And he said, this is really good. This looks, it looks good. Gave me some feedback and said, let's see what else you can do. And then the feedback he started to give me on this one project, by the way, he took me so far beyond the deadline. He just said, forget about the deadline for this one. I'll figure it out. But he said, from the beginning, he started off giving me a lot of feedback. He said, this could be better. This could be better. Then he goes, go away, show it to me tomorrow. Okay. Show it to him again. A little bit less feedback, but he just goes, okay, go away, show it to me tomorrow. Every day. And I got so pissed off with him. I don't think you understand. Every day. And as well, the progressively got less and less feedback. Before it was actually like, this is good. Let's see how much better you can do. Go away. Show it to me tomorrow. I think it was like, it wasn't 2 weeks. It was like eight business days, right? Like, and it was just a little bit under 2 weeks. And then he goes, Michael, this is fucking awesome. I just want to show you what you first showed me. Right? Like, and he put the two side by side, and I just went, holy fuck, that's a piece of shit right there. Like, just knowing what I just showed him, I would never have accepted that. Like, never in a million years. And it was 8 days. This is not like 6 months, a year of learning something. This is just showing how much anybody can push themselves to do better. And the combination of day after day after day, like, I've done that with other people. I've said, I had a designer who she was really good. She had really good instincts, and she always got somewhere really good, but it was so much hassle getting there with it. Like, we fought constantly. And I remember doing this with her, and I said, I'm going to fight with you throughout this whole entire project. Get ready for it, because we are going to butt heads nonstop. Even if I agree with you, I'm going to disagree with you. And and you're just going to have to deal with it, because through this thing, and I want you to really pay attention to where we are at the end of it. Right. It was a project. I think it went for a couple of weeks. I argued every single point she made, even if I knew she was 100% right. I just argued with her, and I go, at the end of it, we looked at it, and I said, look at what you just did. First of all, this is fucking awesome, right? Like, and this is me saying it, so you know that it's like, you know, my bar, right? Like, this is fucking awesome. This is a great piece of design work. But think about what you also just learned. First of all, trust me, 40, 50% of the time, I knew you were right. That doesn't matter. I disagreed. I said, you're wrong. I said, explain it to me. Why are you right? You've learned how to present stuff now. You've learned how to reason with somebody. And then I said, look, where you first started, if I didn't push you further than that, you would have been happy with it. Am I right? Am I wrong? Like, she goes, yeah, it would have been like, look how good this is. Look how much better this is than you did. And like, being able to show people what they would have been okay with 2 weeks ago versus what they're okay with when you push them. It's like, it's so much fun having that reveal with someone, like, and then just sitting there going, oh my God, I didn't realize that I could do this. Like, it's rewarding. But I got very, very lucky with people that did that for me in a good way, in a constructive way when I was very young, that taught me how to have those kind of, those pillars, and actually like know that the ends justify the means. Like, you know, like the knowing that if I put in the work, I will get somewhere with it. If I don't take the first possible answer, you know, even if that is right, like, explore other options. It means that I will know that that is right, right? Like, not guess that that is right. So, you know, and I've had people that understood exactly what it was straight away. When I've taught them to them, you know, I had a guy, one of the directors at Fantasy, he always said he loved it. He said he knew half the time he was going to go back to his first option, but he knew that me pushing him meant that he was going to be sure of his first option. Those things, like just having those like pillars, those things that you know will work if you just do them, like having people to teach you that at a young age is very, it's invaluable. And I wish more people kind of taught those things, and I wish more people didn't take the first thing and didn't kind of say, this is the worst line in the human language is good enough.
Right.
It is the thing that if anybody ever says it to me, I will literally not let them stop until they have exhausted every option. It makes me cringe so much, just even like saying it as something that, you know, makes you cringe. It's the worst possible thing. I hate it. Good enough just means that you've given up.
Yeah.
You know, there's more, and you've given up.
Yeah. Yeah. Your heart's not in it.
Mm-hmm.
You're just not invested in it. And I know unfortunately, we never got to work. I don't think we ever got to work directly on a project together.
No.
But like, having seen your work over the 3 years that I was there was never a single piece that was good enough, right?
No, because I wouldn't let it. Yeah.
No, exactly. I think you bring up a really, really interesting point. So many people go through a large chunk of their design career without having those really good CDs or whatever mentor. So if someone's listening to this now or watching this and they don't feel like they've got that support from leadership, what can they do to continually push themselves each day to look at a work and go, I'm not going to show that to my leader just yet. I'm going to come back tomorrow and polish it a bit more?
I have a very straightforward, easy, short way of saying this. Look at the design in the world. And as soon as you find something that you like and you look at it, if you ever look at something and you say, oh God, I wish I designed that, learn how to design that. The goal should be to get to a point where you never say, I wish I could design that. You are the person that people say that about, right? So if you're ever, and trust me, I'm still looking at things going, I wish I was involved in that. I wish. The goal should be to get to the point where you never say that, but you'll never get to that point, right? Like that's the trick. But I mean, if you look at the way that I learned, I didn't have a teacher when I learned. As I said, like I was completely self-taught. I had no one to tell me what to do. And the way that I learned is I went on to, banner blog, I think it was called. Like there was like a best of banners and stuff like that. There was a bunch of those things. I went on FWA and I went on all these things, and like I looked at stuff that I knew was world class and I just tried to copy it. I said, I want to know how to do that. So when it's asked of me, I will know how to do that. How do I do that button? How do I like do that effect? How do I like put, two random photos together so they look like they're in the same room? Like those kind of things. You see it every day. Any designer worth anything will be constantly looking at other design. And if you are at a certain point where you're more junior, every other bit of design is going to be better than you can do. So you need to learn it. It's as simple as that. All right. Like if you want to be good at what you do, you need to know enough to know when not to use things, and what things to use when the thing comes up. I actually, what taught me that? I was in Barcelona. I went to the Picasso Museum. And the funniest thing is Picasso is obviously, he's very well known for his style of art, right? Like, a Picasso when you see a Picasso. It's like, and if it's not Picasso, it's someone copying Picasso, right? Like that is literally, he's that iconic. The Barcelona Picasso Museum does not have one of those works in it. There is, or if there are, I don't remember it, because it has every other art style that he mastered before he got to that.
Wow.
And you see like still life and old Renaissance stuff and like, just like, all these things he learned how to do. Vermeers, like the perfect lighting, perfect, like things, those styles where you never have seen that done by Picasso. He learned it, and he learned it well. And it taught me that you may be talented. Very possible. There's such a thing as talent. I do believe in that, but it does not matter if you don't have the 90% skill that you need to follow your talent. The talent is 10% at the end. What makes the extraordinary people compared to the not extraordinary. I'm not going to say unextraordinary, because everyone can get to a level of skill where they can be a certain level of extraordinary. The talent only gets you so far. And trust me, there are a lot of people with talent that cannot design for shit because they don't learn how to do it. You need to understand that you need to learn more than you are eventually going to use to be able to use the things well. And like I said, find what you like, find the things that you want to do, and make sure you learn how to do them, because someday they're going to come up, right? Like the worst possible thing you could ever do as a young designer is say, I wish I could do that. Oh, well, like, woe is me. Maybe I'll get the chance someday. And then the worst thing that will happen to you is you will get the chance and you won't know how to do it.
Right. You won't be ready for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is my worst fear, is getting the chance to do something. What was my worst fear? Getting the chance to do something that I don't know what to do, and I don't know how to do it, and I would fail. So I made sure I never did that. And now I know how to learn things on the spot, on the fly.
Yeah. What's something that you've unlearned recently?
I've had to unlearn a little bit of the I can do everything attitude. When I'm talking specifically about like AI and helping, understanding that AI can help me as not with everything, but a lot. It can get me to 60% on a lot of different things, right? Like, and as we've already established, I do not take 60% as a final product ever. But knowing that AI can get me to 60% means that the person who would have told a young designer never to use a magic wand tool always trace, like, use your pen tool and trace it properly, now has to actually concede that the Magic Wand tool might be able to do it better because the software has gotten so good, AI has gotten so good, those things have gotten so good that, it is quicker. And so I've had to unlearn that. And as I've gotten to, the other thing I've had to unlearn is, as I have become more of a manager and a leader and more of a someone who just gives inspiration, or someone that kind of, pushes people to do better, I've had to give up control about a lot of different things. I've had to learn how to let other people make decisions. And it's actually been amazing, because I've realized my happiest days are when I don't have to tell anyone what to do. Like, when you get a piece of work and someone shows you a piece of work, and then you've got to figure out how to get this to a point where, and they have no idea how to help themselves. Those days are hard. Whether or not they're rewarding, that sometimes they are very rewarding, but they're still hard. When you have someone that comes to you and has a point of view and has an idea and has even just an idea of what they want it to be at some point, man, it makes everything a lot easier. Still fun because I get to help them get to that point. But boy, does it make it, like, if I'm going to sit there and have to come up with everything for them, plus teach them how to do it, I may as well just do it myself. This is right. But just to have someone that goes, you know what? I was thinking, I saw this movie the other day and there was this effect that I wanted to do. And there was this, and I thought, when we told me about that, I thought maybe that will work. Let me show you a couple of stills from that movie. All of a sudden, I get excited about their idea, and I get excited about, but that requires me to give up a certain level of control, because usually I would go, this is what we're doing, guys. Let me tell you what we're doing, and then I'll tell you how to do it, and I'll tell you what's expected of you, and you better do it to my level, because, but no, I love it when now I've learned to give up a little bit of control, to let people make mistakes, and to get more involved with other people's ideas, right? My happiest days is when I don't have to give out the idea as a default. I can help you get to the version of your idea that is good.
There's a running theme in both of those about relinquishing control to a certain extent.
Yeah.
First of all, with AI and the pen tool and the progression in tech and how good that is.
Yeah.
And I think that's quite a vulnerable step to take as well, when you have had that stance for so long, for good reason.
Yeah.
To then be confident enough to say, you know what, this was the case, not the case anymore. So, I recognize, I see change and recognize it.
AI is one of those things that I know everyone's saying how fast it's going to take over. It's actually going to take quite a lot longer. I think that where everyone at the moment is seeing it as a replacement for things. So even if it's a replacement for something small, they're still seeing it as a replacement. And in actual fact, it's not going to replace anything. What it's going to do is make all the things that you do on a regular basis either non-existent if you don't want to do those things. Because I can tell you now, it replaces a lot of things that I do that I don't want to do, right? I don't want to write copy for a website. I don't want to write copy for a product page. I'll get AI to do it. It's fine, right? I don't want to do that. So they can do it. But, when it comes into something designing, no, it'll take over the things that it can do faster. It'll take over the things that it can do better, but it will not take over what ideas come. It will not take. So again, you've just, all those things, when you learn to incorporate AI into what you're already doing, it becomes less scary. And I think that is the future we're looking at. If you look at your life and you say, how much of my life do I actually want to do? And you will realize it's probably only 20 or 30%, right? And imagine 70% of things is taken care of for you, right? Like I've got my machine doing AI at the moment. Like it's completely offline. It's learning me as I go along and it's getting smarter, right? Like it's understanding what I want it to do and the type of ways that I want it to do it. And it's starting to do things for me that normally I would have had to do myself and it would have been boring. Um, the, the fun that I get out of setting up my home, my smart home setup is researching the products, kind of knowing what I want, figuring out what I want to do. Everything in between that and it being done is it's kind of a hassle for me. I'm not a coder, right? I don't know. A lot of the times I get very frustrated in those things when I really just want it done. So being able to, my AI knows my entire system, know what works with it, know how to integrate things into it, knowing that I can just go, I just bought this program, give me the YAML files that will integrate it into Home Assistant. Like that makes the fun part that I do fun and the part that I don't want to do non-existent. All right. Like, and it knows, the more it knows me, the better it gets, right? Like it's, so again, it's like when I've embraced to concede, you're right. I've embraced conceding control, on a lot of different things because I think that that is how you learn what you really want to do. Because on the things that you really want to do, you won't concede control because it's not about control. It's just something you want to be involved with, right? Like you may have other people involved with you. It may, we were talking about this like earlier before the recording, or maybe it wasn't a recording. I don't know. The doing things that you love, right? Like doing those things that are creative and are fulfilling and make you better every day. Like those are the things that make your life good. They like especially for creatives, right? Like we have to have creative outlets and sometimes work gets in the way of that. You think just
Right.
because you have a creative job, it means you're doing creative every day. That's not the case, right? Like I say to people, what people ask me what my job is. And I say, my job is to think all the time for however long I'm at work, for however many days a week. I have to think. I have to think of new concepts. I have to think of how to give people direction. I have to think of different ways of giving people direction. I have to think of different ways of doing things. So when you ask me to be creative outside of work, it better be something that's worthy to me because otherwise I'm already tapped out, right? Like it's very difficult for me to be creative outside of work unless it's something that really gives me joy. And knowing that something will do the 70% of stuff that I don't want to do to me is like the greatest concept, the greatest like outlook in life that I've ever seen. Right. And that's a funny thing. Like, we were chatting about why I decided to leave my last place and they had a different view of AI than I did. AI to me is not something to replace all things. And it's not something to put all eggs in one basket. It's something to incorporate so life gets better as opposed to sells more stuff, I guess. Right. Like
Right.
so again, and the selling more stuff will come with that, but it's going to take a while. People have to catch up to it.
I know exactly what you mean. There's another sort of strand that I want to tack on to this in a second, but the AI and all of the tools that come with AI understand they understand how to do something and they're getting better at how, but they don't understand what the output is. Like if you ask AI to come up with two jokes, one might be funny, one might not be funny, but AI can't tell you why it is funny or isn't funny, but it will get better at creating a joke. It
Yeah,
just
it
can't.
will.
Eventually, when we have general artificial intelligence, then who knows? But like right now,
Well, what people don't realize is emotion as we understand it does not actually go into our intelligence and our understanding of things. The only way that it does is like you can't actually, people would not be able to describe how to do that. So like if you pinch yourself and you understand that you feel pain, you cannot describe it, nor is it relevant for any kind of intelligence that you have. right? Like, yes, you have a sense of not wanting to have pain, but it's, like there are things that are painful that are good for you, right? Like getting your knots massaged out of you, like healing from something that is broken or you're sick. And, like there are positive things that come from pain. So that's irrelevant. The intelligence side of it, if you look at a human and the intelligence side of it, there is no difference to us learning how to do things and to gaining knowledge than a computer. In fact, our brain is a computer, right? Like all science has agrees on this thing, and that synapses are the amount of ways that it computes. I know I'm getting the science wrong, but there's, and the thing is, no computer, no AI, no computer, no system has even come close to being able to replicate what a brain can do. So if you take that and you say, okay, no AI can do what a brain can do, whatever. So obviously brains are much better. No, but but no AI can replicate that. And people agree on it, right? But the thing is AI can organize those things faster. It can, do all these things that are better. So, and if I was to take a person and feed it only a certain amount of information, right? Like you look at how I am training my AI. Like I said, it's offline, so it's not going on the web. I want it to learn me without and the things that I want without a lot of different things. So it's me either conversing with it or it's me writing documents, like bullet point documents saying like the things that I like, how to talk to me, like here is my home setup, my smart home setup. Here is how I watch TV. Here is what, here is the data on me. Learn as much as you can about me, right? And if I do this to just a personal assistant, like an actual person, I'm going to get the same outcome eventually, right? Like eventually that person is going to be able to predict what I want. They will know today if I need lunch or don't need lunch, what lunch I would normally have on this day, what kind of lunches do I have in this weather, what kind of lunch do I have if I'm going to eat out or if I'm going to eat in, right? Like all those things are just inputs that, and eventually they will be as smart as a person and they'll be able to do whatever you need that same assistant that's been with you for 30 years and knows you inside and out. And everyone just looks at them going, wow, how do you know this guy so well that you can just anticipate the things that he's going to need or want? Like that is from time and training. That's all it is. AI will be able to do that for people. For anybody that I honestly since I started with my own local AI, I've learned a lot more about it. And it's amazing that someone hasn't created some kind of easy to use software or some kind of pre-built machine or something like that is just going to be your personal AI, not connected to the internet, right? The only thing that you would do with the internet is download, update models, right? But because right now it's so confusing. People don't, apart from just going to ChatGPT and writing in a prompt, people don't know how to actually use it for themselves. And it took me asking ChatGPT a lot of questions to learn it because I asked people at my work that were supposed to know stuff about it. And the answers to those things, like how do I set up my own AI? The answers to those things are as long as you could possibly imagine. So ask a real person that. They're just going to sit there and go, no, I'm not going to tell you because there's too much that goes into that. And I thought they were being assholes, but then I started doing it and I realized, oh no, I was asking the wrong questions, right? Like they were never going to answer that question.
But there's also...
Yeah, go on, sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, it's almost like it's so difficult to set that up for yourself and not use commercially available revenue generating versions of it. Almost like there's a reason why it's so difficult to set up yourself.
Yeah. But I don't think that, here's the thing. I don't think that has, you know what the problem with the world today is they put all their effort into the products that they make and not any effort into the way that product will generate money for them. I'm a capitalist, right? I think that if you do work, get paid for it. That's the world we live in. I'm a firm believer of that. The thing that I don't understand is you look at someone has gone and made ChatGPT and decided that the way that they're going to make money is the antiquated way that everyone has always made money. If you're going to make something like ChatGPT, come up with a new way of making money. Like, bucket it, put ChatGPT into a machine, sell the machine, put it into like a subscription service that makes sense, that actually offers more than you can get. Don't try to monetize it to the point where it becomes unaffordable, it becomes unattainable, it becomes like, or I do not know how advertising is still a thing. I really do not know. I just cannot, for the life of me, understand it. People have asked how much, like I have been involved with clients where they've said, how much money do we spend on advertising, on market placement? And it's just zero. Ads are pointless. They are, by definition, talking at people, right? Like, the one thing that every single study in every kind of different form of marketing has said does not work. Like, it's that simple. The only even advertising agencies literally say you can't talk at people, and then with the very next breath say, let's figure out how we're going to make this 30-second ad, right? Like, it's beyond me that this is still a thing. I don't understand it. Like, there are so many ways of marketing, of talking to people where it's a two-way conversation, where just the idea of a one-way medium just doesn't make any sense. So yeah, and it's the same thing. Like, you know, all these are so confusing at the moment. You don't know what any AI does. You don't know what it does better. Like, I keep on asking, like my online AIs like ChatGPT or Gemini or stuff like that. I keep on asking them, which AI should I use for what thing? And they can't even answer it, right? Like, because there's so many things that do so many things. And unless you tell something specifically, I am going to create this specific product that does this specific thing. What is the best AI to use for that thing? Okay, it might be able to answer that. But if you just say, I want to create my own AI, the answers it spits out are endless, right? Like, well, no, we need a little bit more definition on that. And it's like, well, I don't know what I want it to do yet. I want to learn how it works first. Like, let's set something up and see where we go from there. No AI told me that. No AI let me do that. It wanted me to give them specifics.
Right.
That's where there's a fault. And I don't know how, I mean, I haven't done the research on how to monetize it, but I can tell you now what they're doing is not the way.
Yeah, introducing adverts into ChatGPT, for example, is a bad step.
Yeah.
I think,
yeah.
You know, anyone that hears that is probably thinking the same thing. From those in the tech industry to those very much not in the tech industry, we're done with adverts. We don't want them. There's a reason why our brains filter out the right-hand side of website pages. Like, we don't want any of that anymore.
Absolutely. Yeah. I honestly cannot remember the last ad that I saw that has sunk in any more than, like, directly it finishes and I'm done, right? Like, I have ad blockers on everything. I pay for any, like, you know, you look at like Amazon Prime, what's the name, Disney Bundle, all those things. Like, every single streaming service I have, I pay for the no ad version, like,
Right.
happily, without even thinking. It's not even a question in our household. It just, I don't want to see ads at all, ever. And I'm sure I'm not the only person, right? Like,
I really don't think you are. You mentioned about, I'm conscious that we're sort of coming up on time, so there's only a few questions left. You mentioned about, discovering that sort of initial boost that AI can get you to sort of 60%. And I mentioned about, like, there's another layer to that for me, and I don't know if it's the same for you, but for me as an ADHDer, I've found ChatGPT to be super helpful on those ADHD paralysis days, where I can get a little dopamine spike from doing something really quickly with ChatGPT, just a little back and forth and exploring an idea or what have you. Is that the same for you?
Yeah. Look, I mean, yes and no, because my biggest hurdle for AI is the text format. I'm not a textual word thinker. I am a visual thinker. I am I operate from visual. So it's like, you know, when AI started kind of coming into it, you know, everyone was saying, let's do mood boards in AI. And I'm like, but I don't know what to tell it. Like, I will know what to tell it once I have my mood board.
Right.
And then by that stage, I want to do the work, you know, like that's, you know, so, you know, so with the ADHD, I do think it helps me, again, it helps doing the things that I know I'm probably going to procrastinate into not doing. That is something that I always have to be cognizant about. And that's become something like, well, I know I'm probably not going to be doing it, or I'm definitely going to wait to the last possible second. So I may as well just throw it into one of my AIs. That would work. The other thing that it's been really helpful with, again, having my own personal one that is set up for me, I teach it about me, right? Like I tell it what my ADHD means. Like I tell it that by telling me something in a certain way, I probably won't listen to it. If you tell it to me in this way, I will, or I'll take it more on board, or I'll, you know, like, cause the way that we're spoken to, and I think this is the same with everyone, not just ADHD, but like everyone loves a certain way of being spoken to. And the more we can tell that, you know, imagine a life which you're told difficult things, or you're told things that you know are not going to keep you stagnant, but you're told in a way that'll make you want to do them, right? Like that is probably one of the hardest things that everyone has to go through in working with other people, which is learning how other people operate instead of just yourself, right? Like, and being able to teach an AI exactly how you like to be spoken to means that a lot of the mundane interactions, the mundane things that you get to do on a regular basis, which you may get heated for or may not enjoy because other people are talking to you in the wrong way. But if someone said it in the right way, you'd realize that it's really nothing, right? Like, yeah, cool, I'll do that. Or yeah, cool, yeah, we can work on that together. Or yeah, no, I've got time for that. How many times have you asked like, hey, can you do this thing for me? And you go, dude, like, I'm not going to do this thing for you. I'm so busy. I don't have the time for this. Like, but if someone just said, hey, I just need you to proofread this. If you spend more than 5 minutes on it, it's not worth your time. That, like, you know, that could be all it took to like, for someone to say, yeah, no, I'll do it. Not a problem. Right. It's like, but it's not spoken to in the way that you like being spoken to. Like those things are going to be really handy for people, for everybody. With AI, the best example, I always give this example. I'm getting sick of saying it, but no one has come up with a better example yet. Iron Man. I think it was actually in the Avengers, the first Avengers movie. Jarvis says something to Iron Man, right? Like, and it's something like, oh, we're this low on power and we've got to get over there, blah, 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 blah. Iron Man says, okay, put all the power that we've got into the thrusters. And Jarvis says, I already did. Now, did he already do that? Probably not. He probably took the command as something to do, but he knew the way that Tony likes to be talked to. So he said, I already did, as in that's the colloquialism that they've come to understand each other. Or Jarvis understood what was necessary. He already knew, because he knows everything that's going on with that system. He already knew the power was low. He already knew what the objective that Tony was going to needed to do. So he already did it. Okay. So all those things could be true as well. The beauty about that is it's put into a conversation where the minimal amount of work is shown, but it's all being done in the background. And it says something about like the relationship between that person and the AI. And I love that example because all of a sudden a thing that is doing a lot of work in the background, is doing a lot of scary work in the background, is taking on responsibilities but it is completely negated by the fact that there's trust between those two entities, right? Like trust that person has taught that thing how to talk to me, how to interact with me, what things it can and can't do on its own, right? What things it should ask for my permission for, what things I'm allowing it to just do. Like there's a beauty in like that relationship and it's so much purer because it is not a person, because emotions are not going to get in the way of it, that eventually we will all experience. But it's going to be a long time. every day it maybe gets shorter. I would have put it before AI had this big boom. I would have put it at 50 years, something like that. I remember, uh, I remember coming up with concepts for this. It was like a digital concierge when everyone was talking about contextualization in products, and we had a bunch of concepts for digital concierges. I remember using some of these things as examples. I remember the AI that was in the movie The Time Machine, the Guy Pearce remake of The Time Machine. There was like an AI and in the museum or something like that. I remember using that as an example, and people looking at me going, "You're fucking an idiot. You're an idiot. Like, that's never going to happen the way that it happens there. It's too much stuff. And everything we have to, at this time, we have to ask permission for everything. Do you want me to do this? Like, yes, it should just order that coffee for you, but because no brand is going to do that. So we're going to have to, would you like us to order this coffee for you? Like, yes or no? And that was like a big barrier. And I said, well, you got to think past that. Mm-hmm. The funny thing is I remember that coming, and right after them telling me all of this is impossible, Google had their I/O where the first time they showed the answer for me and make a call for me or answer the phone for me, and everyone was like, "Oh shit, no, you can have something get on a call for you, wait in line, and when you're ready, they can book that restaurant," right? Like, those are the things that it knows. And all of a sudden you just go, "Oh shit, no, you can do it." And everyone was just like, "Okay, we need to have another conversation." We're so far away from that still, but all of a sudden it was a conversation. Things are getting closer and closer. Mm-hmm. At that time, I would have said 50 years. At this time, I might say 10, mm-hmm. right? But like maybe 20, but where you're trusting it enough to do things for you. But it's coming, and people will love it. I can tell you that. They will love it. Everyone having their own personal assistant that knows them. That's why everyone hates the assistants at the moment, right? You ask Alexa to do it, it gives you a canned response. Or automatically you're saying, "Nope, that's a company talking to me. That's a pre-recorded thing talking to me." Doesn't matter how good it gets at the moment. It's a company talking to me. And I want it to be as if it's a person, as if it's my actual assistant, not someone else's assistant, my actual assistant. AI will be amazing. It is scary at the moment for most people because they don't know what they would use it for. And they don't know how to read between the lines. And the industry is terrible, really terrible at communicating that. So the people that love it and love the idea about it are pushing it in all the wrong ways. And they need to start small. The AI, like the headache that everyone is getting right now, the like overkill headache that everyone is experiencing. I get it. I love it. I have high hopes for it, and I still can't stand hearing the word AI. I'm pissed off at myself for using it so often. It's such a thing, but like it's badly advertised.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
At the moment. Yeah. Michael, we've reached the end of our time. We have reached the final question. It's the same final question that every guest is asked. Are you, Michael, awaiting approval?
Only for myself. That's it. I'm not awaiting anybody else to tell me I've done something good, because I know no one can be a better judge, a worse judge than me.
Love it. This is your opportunity. How can people get in contact with you? What links, etc., do you want to share?
michaelglass.net if they want to see some of the stuff that I've done, or my LinkedIn. Just send me something directly. It's always the best way.
Awesome. This has been a really buzzing conversation. I've loved this. And it's gone in ways so unexpected and yet so beautiful. So thank you so much for your time and sharing your insight.
Awesome. Look forward to the next one.
Thanks for tuning in. If you're feeling stuck or want to think out loud about where you're heading, remember that you don't have to figure that all out on your own. I offer a free 15-minute conversation to anyone who wants help figuring out what's in front of them. Whether that leads to us working together or not doesn't matter. What matters is that you have someone in your corner, even if it's just for those 15 minutes. Head to growwithadamjennings.com and book your call. I'd love to hear from you. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the show so that you don't miss the rest of season 3. There is some absolute gold coming your way. So until next time, keep creating, keep questioning, and above all else, keep going.